beer. It's time to bottle it, and we're going to show you how.
Hi, I'm Brian.
I'm Derica, and you're watching City Steading. Today is beer part dos.
Yeah, we made a beer on March 27th, 2019. That's just, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago or so. And today it's done. It should be ready to go. It's been, a couple weeks, like I said. We're going to take a final reading on it just to give you an idea how much alcohol. I'm not expecting a lot of alcohol. This should be like 3-4% tops. The carbonation process might add, 0.5% or so, but whatever.
Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I want to point out something to you. That's right, you. Because we've been getting lots of questions.
Be afraid.
When this stuff happens. They're like, oh, look at that scary, yucky stuff. It is scary. It is yucky. But it's absolutely normal. This is what's called a krausen line. Now, this is a pretty serious krausen line, but it's still normal.
Beer does that.
It's okay.
When I made this, there was a lot of concern about using an airlock right away, and I didn't. I put an airlock on it for the video, but almost immediately after the video was over, I took a piece of silicone tubing and just stuck it right in the stopper and put that into a quart mason jar filled with sanitizer water. It's called a blow-off tube. It's a good thing I did, too. This sucker went explosive for like almost 24 hours, and then calmed right down and it went to normal. So anyway, we're going to get to it. What we're going to do is we're going to rack this off. And like I like to do, I'm going to put it into a pitcher because it just makes things a little easier. This is an advantage to working with smaller batches. All right, so just like we always do when we're going to rack, first we pull the stopper out and the airlock. I actually had a little smell. It smells like beer. Anyway, so what we're going to do, Derek is going to take this and put it in about halfway. If you notice, there's a lot of lees in the bottom of this. And that's beer. It's all grain. So any little pieces of particulate, little pieces of hops, stuff that didn't get strained out, they're all in there.
And when you have a super thick krausen line like this, when you put that in there, you kind of, I know it's counterintuitive, but you kind of want to swirl it a little bit so that way anything that got stuck to your siphon end gets removed so that you're not automatically siphoning that in.
Yeah, you don't want to suck in any of the goop. And I'm just going to, you just hold it, I'll give it a couple of pumps. Now, normally, when this is full, I would degas. In this case, I'm not really going to. Beer doesn't need to be degassed quite so much. But, in a way, I am going to degas because we're going to bottle carbonate this stuff, okay? And that's part of what we're going to show you in this video. We're going to rack it off, and once it's racked, I'm going to add some sugar to it. Well, actually, I'm going to take a reading first. And I'm going to shut up now and just let this racking run. We got just about a gallon, which is actually pretty good considering how much lees was in the bottom here. I'm a little surprised we got as much as we did, to be honest. Because I know right up to the lip on this pitcher is 128 ounces, so we're only, half inch below that.
Okay, so we have a stupid amount of stuff in our turbos.
We're doing 4 videos today, so.
So Brian used his brain, and after these were sanitized, he actually put the hydrometer, aka Hydrometer, inside the graduated cylinder. That way it was kind of protected so it didn't break. Yay!
We've broken more of these than we care to admit.
And we know many of our members have as well. So if that helps you out, go team.
So, now that we have this racked, what we're going to do is we're going to take a reading because I'm just curious what it got to. I think it started at 1034. Okay, so I'm going to take a hydrometer reading. And the real reason I want to do it is just to kind of know how much alcohol is in there. I know this is finished. It's been sitting for a couple of weeks. Beer doesn't take that long. It was probably done in 4 or 5 days, to be honest with you. But what I'm going to do, get my handy dandy turkey baster, 100 ml graduated cylinder, and proceed to fill it up. And spill it all over the place. Notice, mouth open as I take a whiff. I normally do that. People keep telling me to do that. I'm gonna take my hydrometer and put it in. Looks like 1008 to me. That's somewhere like, I don't know, maybe 4%? Ish, it'll be right here. But it's beer. To me, beer does not need to be super high gravity to be good. I'm more into the flavors of it and mouthfeel, texture, that kind of thing. The experience of it, it should just be nice, So anyway, so the next step is we're going to prepare for bottle conditioning or carbonation. And all that means is we're going to add a little bit of sugar back into this and stir it through. Remember when I said I wasn't going to degas? This is what I mean by I'm still sort of going to degas because I have to stir this through. That's going to get out some of that bad CO2, allowing it to create some good CO2, which sounds weird, but some of that stuff has been in here for a couple weeks, creating bitter flavors, that kind of thing. You get all that stuff out, you let it build some new CO2 for just a little while, boom, now it tastes a lot better. So over here, I have pre-measured my sugar. There's different ways of doing this. Some people like to take a teaspoon or whatever and put it in every bottle. I don't like that method. And here's why. I'm making several different bottles of stuff. I'm gonna have 12-ounce bottles, 16-ounce bottles. We even have a 750 ml bottle in there. Why? Why not? We have all these bottles laying around. I like using swing tops, especially for beer that's not gonna be around all that long. So to me, I want this to be ready for whatever volume it goes in. So whether it's a little bottle or a big bottle, I don't have to think about, well, is it a teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half? Plus, you try measuring out an even teaspoon every single time. Do that 10 times. I guarantee you no 10 or no 2 are the same. So you might have some with more carbonation, some with less carbonation. The more carbonation can be dangerous. The less carbonation just means a little less carbonated, but more carbonation could mean a bottle bomb. So I'm going to take my 1 ounce per gallon by weight. Now this is 1 ounce by weight, which means 28 grams. I actually know that now. And I'm going to put it into my beer. And then I'm going to get my metal spoon, which should be sitting in the sanitizer over there. Ah, look at that. She already got it out. And I'm going to stir this in. Now, I just want to stir it in. I'm not really trying to beat this up and degas it because I don't want to get oxygen in this and ruin it, basically. Now, someone will say that I'm using a metal spoon in a plastic container. This metal spoon has such rounded edges on it that it's great. And I'm not scraping and digging, I'm stirring. But there is some truth to that. If you scrape a plastic container, it'll never sanitize properly again. So you don't really want to use it. Now, this is just a temporary vessel for switching stuff over. I highly doubt it would be a problem anyway because it's not sitting there forever.
You may, from your vantage point, be seeing a little bit of the particulate swirling around in there. We did get a little bit of the lease from our massive krausen in even through our siphoning procedure.
Yeah, we did. And you know what? It's homebrew.
But here's a super secret hint. Because we are bottle conditioning these and carbonating in bottles, there's going to be a little bit of lease in the bottom, regardless of how clear this is.
So all that'll settle to the bottom with the rest. It'll be fine. I actually thought about using cheesecloth to filter it out, but a little lease never hurt anybody. Okay, so now the next step is actually we're ready to put this in bottles. That's it. It's pretty much good to go. This isn't anything you've never seen us do before if you've ever watched any of our other videos, especially ginger beer. This is like the exact same process, except that there's no need to pasteurize. Pasteurization is something I actually want to bring this up. We've seen this a lot in our group. People think you have to pasteurize everything now. No, you don't. Pasteurization is for when you have a yeast that has a much higher tolerance than the gravity you made and you want something to stay sweet, because normally that would go dry and that's the end of it. People say, but what about beer? Here's why beer stays sweet. There are unfermentable or non-fermentable sugars in that wort, in that beer. So that means even if it goes to dry or close to dry, like it did, 1008, there's still a lot of sugars in that that just won't ferment out. Therefore, you can let beer go dry and it still tastes sweet. Ginger beer, on the other hand, not so much. That'll ferment out completely dry. So you want to be careful with that. But you don't need to pasteurize everything. A lot of people seem to have that misconception. It's a last resort. Only do that when you absolutely have to and you have no other option. Okay? So, I'm going to do the big bottle first. That way I know I don't have like half of a big bottle at the end here. I'm just going to move all these slightly out of the way. It's a lot of bottles. I don't think we're going to use them all. But, are we ready?
Some words of caution. Notice how Brian is very stubbornly and aggressively attempting to affix the bottling wand to the end of our siphon. There are reasons for this.
Because it's come off before in the middle of bottling. All right,
So be
you will
careful.
also notice this is a bottling wand. We just put it right on the end of our siphon. It has this fiddly little thing in the bottom here that when that's up, no flow. When that's down, it flows. Actually, other way around. There's this fiddly little thing in the bottom here that when it's down like that, nothing will come out. When it hits the bottom of a bottle like that, it goes up and lets it flow. So that way you put it in the bottom of the bottle, it fills the bottle. As you get to the top, you lift it up, it stops.
Another word of caution. Test it, because sometimes it'll accidentally get stuck.
There's spring-loaded ones. We have them in our store. They work a lot better.
And it'll keep on flowing.
Why do I not have a spring-loaded one?
Because we're frugal.
Yeah, not for long. All right, you want to get that started. So, just like before, she's just going to get that started. Now, this is a clear-ish bottle, so you want to be careful. And generally, I go right up to about here, and then I pull the wand out. Let's see, I'm testing it. No flow.
Yay.
Flow.
So which one are you doing next?
Huh?
Which bottle are you going to do next?
This one.
We love these crack bottles.
St. Sebastian's Ale.
Yes.
Good stuff.
But they're not transparent, so they're even more challenging to fill.
You know what? I'm not doing that one. I'll do this one.
So the blue bottle Brian is filling now was originally purchased with mead inside of it.
Was it mead?
I forget which type of mead, but that was originally
Ta-da!
a mead
Right
bottle.
to the top.
This next bottle,
And then I close it up. Set it to the side.
we purchased at Aldi.
Yep.
It was a pumpkin cider bottle. The
Some
label's
of you,
still on
I've
there.
seen some of you have
A bunch
these.
of you have been finding this and buying
The bottles
it.
are awesome.
The bottles are awesome. Brian did not like the pumpkin cider. I did not mind it.
I'm not a big fan of pumpkin.
Some of you really enjoyed it. Some of you not so much. So, you know, there's Team Brian, Team Derica. It's good either way. The next bottle was a beer bottle.
Oh, I forget.
Flensburger?
Yeah, Flensburger. Can you count? Because these are going to go fast. So we have all of our bottles filled. Everything from the big one to the little ones. We ended up with, not bad for a gallon. I mean, these are 12-ounce bottles. That's a 16. That's a 750. Not too shabby. And there's still a little tiny bit left. Now, I didn't have enough in here for another bottle. And there's some floaters in here that, you know, it's not the most pleasant thing. We can avoid it if possible. So I'm just going to basically take a little sample of this. Now this is, you can see the stuff floating in it. Not really the most, you know, appetizing looking thing right now. But you can also see that that's got some serious clarity to it too. And it's a beautiful color. The aroma, it smells like beer. I mean, I can smell the hops. I can totally get like the sweetness of the grains. Just take a sip.
Now we know this is not carbonated yet because we just started
And it's
that
warm.
process and it's warm. So it's not going to be the best, but it should be able to give us an idea of what the finished product is going to be.
It's not overly sweet. It's got just the right amount of hops in there to give some bitterness, but I get the cereal of the grains just a little bit, the maltiness. It's actually really light and refreshing. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say brown ale, not quite. I think it's a little lighter than a brown ale. I think I could have probably extracted a bit more or something, but as a beer, it's good stuff. I mean, homebrew, you know what I mean? You're gonna make your own stuff. There are a lot of people that want to make this beer or make this beer. I just want to make something that's pleasant to drink that I don't mind, because beer isn't my go-to, but I would drink that. You know, make that cold, give it a little bubbles in it, and I would totally drink that. This is really good stuff.
It is pleasant already.
Yeah,
so
even just as a flat, warm beer, it's nice. So
and that is saying a lot for us because
she likes beer less than I do.
Yeah.
But she does drink the beer I make. So what's going to happen next is all these bottles are going to go into my bomb-proof chest. What I mean by that is it's a big old Rubbermaid tote with a lid that I put them in there, and I put another thing on top of it to hold the lid down, just in case any of these decide to overcarbonate on me. How long will they sit in there? As long as I want. After a week, maybe 10 days, they should be good to go. Give them 2 weeks and you're probably just fine. Beyond that, it's just storage. Yes, ma'am.
A sneak trick that we did not implement this time, but we have in the past, is if you have a small plastic container that at one point held a carbonated beverage, such as a soda, shame, you can put one of your mixtures of beer in that and give it a little squeeze every now and then. And when it gets firm, like it would if it was carbonated, then you know it's carbonated and everything else should be fine.
I'm also using flip tops. If I really, really need to, I could just pop one and listen for the fizz.
Yeah.
But I would like to say one more thing before we wrap this up. This is actually very tasty. I know we said it a minute ago, but our tasting notes, sometimes we gloss over things. And I'm not, if it tasted bad, I would tell you.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's the thing. We've had some notes and some views where we kind of said, this doesn't really taste all that great.
Also, if it tasted bad, even if our mouths were saying it tasted good, our faces would be saying
Yeah, I can't really hide.
No.
I mean, if I put it in my mouth and I go, you know, it really wasn't all that good, you know? This is nice. I like it. It's a nice light beer.
I was expecting it to taste much worse because it isn't cold and it isn't carbonated. And so I had that in my head that I'm like, this is probably
I could actually drink it warm.
skunky, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, skunky's a whole different thing though.
But it's not. It's nice, it's refreshing, and it's really making me look forward to when it is carbonated and
this
cold.
is going to be wonderful. This is going to be awesome. Like after working in the garden all day, just have a beer.
Yep.
Yeah, this
Perfect.
is good stuff. Anyway, that's all I got. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.
Beer here, ordelijk waarom? Ja, hey, beer here, ordelijk waarom?
I should have seen that coming, but I didn't.